Hello everyone and welcome to the Precision Digital webinar, an introduction to thermocouples, RTDs, and temperature transmitters. This webinar is designed to be a basic educational course for those of you who have to deal with temperature devices but aren't necessarily an expert. Precision Digital has done a series of educational webinars, including sessions on loop-powered devices, understanding 2-, 3-, and 4-wire signals, the fundamentals of pulse inputs, Modbus, and many more. Now, all these recordings are available on the Precision Digital website, predig.com. Now, a couple of things to get out of the way before we start this session. This webinar is available on predig.com in the webinar archive, and you will be sent a link on how to view it after the session. Now, also, everyone in attendance today is in listen-only mode. You cannot speak, but you are encouraged to ask questions via our chat box during the webinar. There will also be a couple of question and answer sessions during the session where we will pick some of those questions submitted to be answered. We're glad that you were able to join us today. My name is Ryan Shea. I am a product specialist at Precision Digital Corporation, and I will be your webinar moderator today. Don Miller is an application specialist with Precision Digital who often deals with temperature devices. He's working behind the scenes answering your questions in the chat window. And our main speaker today is Joe Ryan. He is a product manager with Precision Digital, and he has over 10 years of experience in the field with all kinds of process signals. He works in design, support, and manufacturing and marketing of process instruments and controllers. He has a lot of knowledge that he's going to share with us today. Don, Joe, and myself are broadcasting live from the Precision Digital headquarters in Holliston, Massachusetts. Joe, I think we're all ready to get started.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Ryan. Before we dive into the content here today, why don't we take a high-level view of what we're going to be looking at, what the objectives are of this webinar, and what we hope you take away from it once it's all said and done. The first thing we hope to do is define what thermocouples, RTDs, and temperature transmitters are. Then we want you to understand how those devices work so that you can evaluate the pros and cons of each type of temperature sensor and temperature transmitter. So we're going to take a very basic look at these, discussing the principles behind them and how they operate, so you'll have a much better fundamental base of knowledge about these kinds of products by the time you leave here today. But before we dive into the technical details, Ryan, you had a couple of questions for the audience.
I do. So before we get started, we always like to know kind of who's in the audience and who's listening in today. We have about 100 people logged on today, so we always like to kind of get to know you guys a little more. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that we're going to do in a poll. So first, where are you guys located? Eastern U.S., Central U.S., Western U.S., Canada, or probably somewhere else international? So take that poll really quick, and then I will skip to the results, and we'll kind of see where everyone's from. Looks like a lot of people are voting. Looks like a lot from the eastern U.S., but western is catching up. So I'll give you a couple more seconds to take that poll. So it looks like mostly the eastern U.S., which is where we are as well, a little bit in Canada, and then a little bit overseas too. So the next question I have is, what is your level of experience with thermocouples, RTDs, and temperature transmitters? Are you an expert? Are you an electrical engineer? Do you know enough to get the job done? Or maybe you have zero experience. Maybe you're just learning, or you have no idea what we're talking about. So take a couple seconds to take that poll, and then we'll skip to the results.